Hello, we are live again for the blue game at the Final Four Tribal Council. So we are moments away from watching the players file on in. They are lining up right now, so we will see them come down the way momentarily. All right, and here they come. So we have Ethan, Casey, Connor, and Francis all filing into Tribal Council.
Okay. What a grueling Final Four immunity. Is the bird here?
The turkey.
That?
I'll go get him.
I said...
They sure aren't. They're enjoying Ponderosa time a little bit too much.
They're having their food.
I think.
I
Yeah.
said Blue Tribal in 5 way more than 5 minutes ago. So...
They said Hornets, no. Mud, no. Ponderosa, yes.
To be fair, I think maybe all of production is up there trying to shove everything in the U-Haul right now, so maybe they did not remember.
Yes, that is fair.
That's right.
All right. Down to our final four again: Ethan, Casey, Connor, and Francis. There are now officially more jury members than there are players in the game. We have 5 empty little stools waiting for the occupants to make their way to Tribal Council. We have 4 of the 5 waiting in the wings. This, yeah.
Hashtag where's Anna?
We need Anthony.
There he is.
Oh,
He's
God.
wrestling for us.
All right. Come on in, jury. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Something about yeah.
What an accurate representation of like where everyone's mind is at day
Right,
4.
we have Caitlin, Anthony, Andy, Joe, and the last member voted out, Mel.
All right, jury now settling in, ready to silently look on as Tribal Council gets underway.
Okay. Like I was saying before, that was a very grueling Final Four immunity. Francis, you had a lot of emotion as you dropped. What was going through your mind?
I just saying emotion. I just wanted to win one. And I feel like that was maybe my best shot, and I really didn't want to be the first to drop, but I was. I mean, all 3 of these guys have just been like absolute beast mode in challenges, and I have sucked at most of them, so I just really, really wanted to win one. But I'm proud of myself for lasting the full 20 minutes before we had to like take our hands off. I just couldn't balance, so yeah.
Casey, you looked really steady all the way through, and then after we took away the upper body support, Connor beat you out. What was going through your mind when you dropped? Did you feel like you needed that immunity?
Yeah, I mean, at Final Four, you always need immunity. Like, no one's safe because, like, if you don't have immunity, like, who do you say to the other people? Like, you're talking to one person, there's only one, like, you can only say the name of whoever is not around, you know? So, like, having the necklace is the only way to actually feel safe at this point in the, I mean, a lot of points in the game, but especially at Final Four. So playing that challenge, I definitely tried my hardest. I gave everything I had. When I fell, it was because my ankle literally gave out. So Connor beat me fair and square, and I got nothing but respect for him.
So So in general, this game moves at a really fast pace, but you guys had a little bit longer of a scramble period than normal as production was trying to clear up all the props on top of the hill. With that added time, was it a lot of scrambling, or was there kind of a majority consensus on who the vote was going to be?
There was a majority consensus on who the vote was going to be. And that majority consensus, currently, at least to my knowledge, is me. Obviously, I don't want to go home right now. I was told it was me to my face by, like, basically everyone. And what my proposition is I just have to, like, plead to Connor right now that Casey is amazing, amazing, amazing in challenges. If he goes through to the final 3, he could win the final 3 immunity. And I have absolutely, like, I'm sure he is not going to take you to the final. And if you save me, I will take you to the final.
So is that you pleading to Connor to try it up and send you to fire?
Exactly, because I don't see a path forward where it's just a straightforward vote out and Casey goes home.
Okay. And so then, since you are pleading to Connor, do you feel like you have no chance of getting Francis's vote?
I think that Francis, my plea would be about the immunity challenges, and I think that Casey would take Francis, so there's no reason for Francis to save me over Casey.
Casey, your name's going around a lot. Did you already know that that was Ethan's pitch? Were you aware? Or is that new information that is making you feel new feelings?
No, I mean, I knew. My name's been coming up the last few rounds. It's like, I understand the pitch. Like, Ethan and I, honestly, we just had a completely honest conversation sitting over there. Like, look, dude, it's one of us. Like, we have to vote for each other. And the other two kind of get to decide. And if we have to go to fire, I'm confident in fire. I'm ready to do that. And I hope I don't have to, so we can just kind of move forward with this group of 3. But if they make that decision, I'm confident in winning fire, and us 3 can move forward anyway.
So you said, hey, Ethan, look, like it's either me or you.
We said it
Best
to
of
each
luck
other.
to
We were very
you.
candid.
Was there ever a discussion of you two pairing up and putting your votes on Francis, or is it more so it's either you or me?
Wow, Kelsey throwing my name out.
I mean, we could do that.
Just asking if it was in the conversation.
You know I can't.
I know.
Sorry.
I know.
Francis, that must feel pretty good, right? That must speak to your social game if that is currently not even on the table.
Either that or they know I'm real easy to beat at final unity.
Okay. Do we all feel good, or is there anything more to share? Okay, Francis, you'll kick us off.
All right, and the first of the 4 players is now heading to go vote, so we're just gonna head away for a moment as well. Just have a little chatty chat about what we have heard and what I have heard. So, okay. All right, so just making our way up the hill for one of the last times of this game. All right, when I get far enough away, we'll be able to talk for a few moments. If y'all have any questions, feel free to ask, and I will answer as best as I can, as always. Okay, we'll just hang out in this weird mud ditch with some flowers and a dumpster behind us. It'll be great. Okay, so as we heard, Ethan seems pretty sure that the vote is solidly going to be going his way 3-1. And so, being this is not the final tribal, that is definitely not what you want to see. However, his read is that Connor is kind of the only one that would vote for Casey instead of him. Obviously, all 4 of these players have been voting together all day. They are the kind of singles alliance that formed last night, as far as I know, or at least at some point yesterday was solidified. And so You know, they've been working together a long time, but obviously 4 can't make it to the end, so this is the end of the road for the 4 of them, and it becomes kind of like a what's best for me situation now. Interestingly, I am hearing that Connor and Casey are actually very locked up tight in a final 2 scenario, and so Ethan's plea to Connor may just be falling on deaf ears. Interestingly, I hear that Francis is actually the one that's been considering voting for Casey along with Ethan. So interesting to me that Ethan was not imploring Francis at this tribal and was instead imploring Connor. I don't know if that's because Francis has kept their cards close to their chest on that, and is just kind of quietly, just to themselves alone, thinking through it in their mind. As we heard from Casey at this tribal council, he is very confident in fire making, which is kind of the competition if there is ever a tie at the final 4. We go into a fire making competition. This is one of these Survivor kind of rules / things that happens much like Rocks, which we talked about last night. And so in the case of a tie, the 2 players that received the votes would actually face off and try to make fire, at first using only flint and some kindling and some sticks, and then would, you know, win their spot basically to move on and save themselves if they make a large and impressive enough fire that then burns through a rope. So it is no easy task, that is for sure. Making fire with just like a little flint where you're striking it and scraping magnesium and like doing little sparks. It's super involved. It's something that like is not, I mean, definitely the average person just doesn't go out there and know how to do it or like practice doing it. People have a hard enough time making fires with matches or like lighters, as we've seen all week long. So flint would definitely be really difficult. But Casey, of course, advertising, you know, as loud as the ear could hear, that he's very confident in it, whereas I am told that Ethan has actually never made fire and does not know how. So Francis also taking that into consideration, because, you know, are you gonna tie something up and just have it be all for naught? And really, you know, if they vote for Casey along with Ethan, and then Ethan really has no shot at fire and loses anyway, you know, was it worth it? So I'm sure Francis is weighing all of that in their mind. And the thing is, I don't know, like, but I will say, like, there's a lot of pressure during that competition, and you just kind of never know. I mean, you could be as confident as you want, you know, making fire in the comfort of your own backyard. But it's one thing to do it when there's no pressure and you're just trying it out and for fun, and it's another thing when all eyes are on you and it is quite literally your game on the line. So, yeah, so it's, you know, you never know, but definitely, as with everything in Survivor, there's a learning curve. So like, of course, you know, it is one of those things that's hard to learn on the fly, but there's beginner's luck, so you never know. Let's see, looks like Ethan has just voted, and of course he is the last of the 4, so we'll head on back to the tribal council area, so that we're there in time for the votes to be read. You can see Kelsey in the distance heading off to tally the vote, so we'll see. We shall see what happens. All right, and back into tribal council we head. And a hornet has found me yet again. All right, jury just looking on, hanging out, wondering what will go down. Our players wondering the same. Only a few more moments until we all find out together.
Casey? Ethan? That's one vote Casey, one vote Ethan. Ethan? That's 2 votes Ethan, 1 vote Casey. Ethan, that is enough. Please bring your vote.
Hello? Thank you.
Ethan. The trash is broken.
All right, and we will follow Ethan on out of the tribal council area to get some last words with him. All right, Ethan, we are still live. We're going to catch up with you near the top of the hill. We just want to, get your thoughts, hear from you. So this will be your time to just share anything that's on your mind.
I had a literal time of my life playing this game. I gave it everything I had. I was up and I was down. I was looking for anything to do in this game, and I knew that Connor came up to me and said that I was a threat, and I understood. It is what it is.
Sure. Yes, congratulations on making it to the final 4 players in this game.
Thank you.
No small feat at all. You have a ton to be proud of about this game. You received a standing ovation on your way out. I do not know if you noticed.
I was too busy looking at it.
Exactly. So I just love to hear from you. What is the thing you're most proud of about your game and about
I'm
this
most proud
experience?
of how I continued after my sister left. I won 2 immunities and found an immunity idol, and I was really just digging deep in this game.
Awesome. I would love to know now, maybe what's something you learned about yourself or something that surprised you about this experience out here?
Before this, I'd never really went camping, so the whole actual survival aspect of this game was completely new to me, and I'm sure everybody said this, but I'm way stronger than I thought. On night 2, I was literally shivering the entire night under the shelter. Clothes sopping wet, my allergies were acting up, I could barely breathe, had to walk to the bathroom to blow my nose, but I still made it through and I kept going, and I kept a positive attitude towards it all.
You sure did. And obviously, because you have made it this far in the game, you and Caitlin have both earned a ton of money towards your charity. So this is your chance before we let you go to shout them out and let everyone know who you were playing for.
Shouting out the GLAD Foundation. They do a lot for queer people, for representation in media, and I think that's really needed, especially right now, and I really respect what they do.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ethan, and congratulations again. We'll let you head on over to Ponderosa, and we will see you at the next Tribal Council.
Bye!
Bye! All right, and we are heading on back in because we are actually going right in to a challenge. We will be heading into an immunity challenge that's taking place pretty much right now. So stay locked here. All right, Kelsey, we are still live. I am assuming that is the plan?
Yeah, we were waiting on you guys.
Fabulous.
So can I get some help bringing it in?
All right, let's take in our final 3 players for the blue game. We've got Casey, Connor, and Francis.
I know, me too. He's just like my favorite. What color do you want?
All right, players getting set now with a bucket in front of them.
I wondered, yeah. Okay, let's do that.
Okay, let's put a stool in front of each to build it on.
All right, just getting set up here for some more action.
What was the question? So you want
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
as long as it's even for all of you.
Yeah. Somebody toss me bug spray that's on the thing.
All right, we are setting up for another challenge. As you can see, players are getting set up with some different color wooden things in front of them. Players getting situated. Yes. As we know, this area is very buggy, so players just kind of getting themselves sprayed before they settle in for this. All right. You're okay.
Okay. As you can see, this is a puzzle. The puzzle needs to be flush on top for it to be complete.
Alright, so we get quiet back here.
And yes, please, complete silence while the final 3 are completed. Okay. For the final time, survivors ready? Go.
All right, the final 3 players of the blue game now working on a puzzle that involves a lot of different wooden pieces. We've got
Francis trying to place their blocks immediately. Casey putting his blocks on his bench to try and see maybe a pattern first. Connor and Francis a couple blocks in if they are correct.
All right. Yes, Brady, this is in fact the final 3 immunity challenge that we have continued into right after the final 4 tribal. So your final 3 players, Francis, Connor, and Casey, are battling it out, all hoping to win immunity here. They will do so by solving this puzzle and being the first one to do it. As Kelsey, our host, told us earlier, the puzzle is solved when all the pieces are flush, which means they all must sit evenly across the top. All players have placed pieces in their puzzle boxes, but it's a question of are they right or are they not? And it's one of these puzzles where we won't know until we know. So strap in, y'all. We've got
all Casey, Connor, and Princess have quite a few pieces in, but it is hard to tell who could have the lead as we are not sure if their pieces are correct at this point.
Francis hunching over their puzzle, presumably deep in concentration. Connor with an entire fistful of puzzle pieces. And Casey with an entirely empty bucket has placed all of his pieces on this little handy dandy stool next to him. There's going to be a lot of trial and error with this puzzle.
There's a lot of different avenues to trying to solve this. You could just be going for matching up these slanted angles, or you can try to solve the pattern. Important to note to the live stream, the players were not told what the pattern is.
The player's not told something? Shocking.
Connor with, I believe, the most pieces placed, followed by Francis, followed by Casey. Francis taking a little peek to see if she can glean anything from Connor's puzzle, but quickly focuses back on their own puzzle. Their pieces removed from their bucket. Francis still has a few left. Francis was feeling left out and decided to remove their pieces from their bucket. One, please. Francis with the same plea that we heard in the immunity challenge before.
And the immunity challenge last night.
Somehow predict that is falling on deaf ears.
I gotta try.
Respect.
Connor with a lot of pieces placed.
Puzzles looking. Actually, I shouldn't say that.
It's looking difficult. It's looking like a very difficult puzzle.
Okay, I'll say it. It's looking more like a Rorschach blob at this point than a coherent pattern. Can't quite tell if Casey is stuck or if he's just being very methodical and is going to start placing pieces like crazy after figuring out some sort of pattern. Francis has a couple chunks together, but still trying to work out where everything goes. Connor has one whole row of his puzzle in there. Who's to say if it is correct? As I say that, both Francis and Casey are trying to sneak a peek.
In a not so sneaky way.
Yeah, the corners have to stay in.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I broke it.
Just clarify that rule for both Connor and Casey. The corner pieces stay where they are.
Unless you're into undoing a puzzle instead of doing the puzzle.
I'm doing my best. Casey with about 5 or so pieces in place. Francis with a couple more than that. Connor has a very commanding lead if he is correct.
And all these puzzles are exactly the same formation-wise. They only differ in the color that they are. Casey competing on the yellow-colored puzzle. Connor on the peach. And Francis on the blue.
Everyone doing a great job of staying calm and steady and not panicking, as I'm sure there was a lot of stress on the line to make it through this round.
All right, let's
Casey
bring you...
finally is getting maybe somewhere with his puzzle. He has a lot more pieces in than when I just checked a moment ago.
All right, bringing you in for an aerial view of all the puzzles. As you can see, all of these wooden pieces on the inside are slanted at all these different angles, all these different heights. And the players are having to figure out how to fit them in properly, how to make them all the same level, how to make sure the pattern works. So a lot of different things going on with this puzzle. It is certainly not simple. Players all now hunching over their puzzles, so I will try and get down here too, so you can see their concentrating faces.
Connor's still kind of trying to figure out what's going on in that middle section.
Francis rotating a piece in all directions. Connor whispering to himself.
Looks like Casey is looking for a very specific piece that he's going to find. Even looking towards the ground to see if there's a drop piece.
All three players would love to solve this puzzle first and secure an immunity win here.
Connor with two full edges of this. Connor with two full sides of his puzzle complete if correct. Maybe still looking for that piece that he was looking for a moment ago.
All of our players competing in this very difficult puzzle, deeply in concentration, all with slightly different approaches.
Seems to be having more luck the outside than the inside. Francis has a lot of pieces placed, but it's hard to tell if there is a pattern coming together. Casey's still hung up on that same spot.
Perhaps he feels it is the key to the entire thing.
Looked over at Connor and he only had 4 pieces to go, but then I saw that he was smuggling some pieces in his lap. Maybe trying to see if we would notice.
Maybe trying to psych out his fellow competitors and cause them to panic.
Is really starting to take shape, but still has several pieces to go. This puzzle, you can have everything but one thing correct and still be stuck. Casey now is kind of looking over at Connor's and switching the orientation of his box to see if that will help. Connor still has a commanding lead on Francis and Casey.
Yeah, we get it. He's doing great.
Francis is never one to back down for some during challenge
Commentary.
conversation.
Francis now placing a lot more pieces in the puzzle box.
Connor now starting to work on the fine lines of that pattern, trying to make sure all of the pieces are properly aligned. As he has 3 full edges complete. To get it correct.
Casey potentially working on a right to left strategy in solving his puzzle.
Connor down to just a couple pieces. Trying to see if everything is level or if he has one potentially incorrectly placed. Casey really starting to form a pattern on his puzzle. Seems that flipping over and flipping the orientation has really helped him speed up. Connor still with a very commanding lead as far as number of puzzle pieces to go. But those pieces do in fact have to be correct.
Our final 3 players of the blue game just working on this final 3 immunity challenge.
Connor getting hung up on these last 3 pieces. Not sure where they go. Flipping the orientation. See if he can maybe spot a place where a different piece is correct. Connor is now to the portion of the puzzle where he is taking pieces out that he previously had placed and reworking a couple pieces. Casey is really starting to hit his groove and has tripled the amount of pieces in his box since flipping that orientation. Francis continuing to not flip up, as you are never truly out of a survivor challenge. Connor doing a lot of taking puzzle pieces out to see if he can figure out where he went wrong previously. Remember, you should not have to force these pieces in too hard. Connor again down to a handful of pieces. But as we saw prior, that may not mean anything.
Ugh.
Down.
Sorry, y'all. If I never hear a hornet buzz next to my ear, it'll be too soon.
Casey really starting to close that gap with only a couple puzzle pieces more than Connor. That is correct.
Connor now standing up over his puzzle.
Connor has stayed focused on his own puzzle the whole time, while the other two have possibly benefited from some piecing over.
Both Casey and Connor down to very few pieces.
Connor now with 4 pieces to go. Casey with 1 piece to go.
Elfie.
Okay, that is correct. Casey wins final immunity.
All right, and here is the final puzzle.
Congratulations.
Completely completed. And Casey with that immunity necklace around his neck. All right. All right, and that is the final 3 immunity challenge for the blue game. So we will be giving the players some time now as the red game files in. What? What?
We're going into it.
Going into what?
Final.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Apparently we're not. I'm gonna end the live stream to go live again. Cause yeah. All right. I'll see you guys in 10 seconds because we are going right into FTC for the blue game. So that's a fun surprise.